Hey there, and welcome back to Tech by Tech, the channel where I purchase weird and useless obsolete tech stuff like this iPad Pocket PC, so you don't have to. This time around, however, I have tried looking into more relevant gadgets. I've recently sold my Lumix GX1, which I've previously done a review on this channel, and I've made a bit of a profit. And I've decided to reinvest that profit into another Micro Four Thirds camera, this Olympus OMD-10 Mark I. So without any further ado, let's get into this offering. Okay, so the Olympus OMD-10 Mark I. It's hard for me to say because I'm so used to Lumix cameras, like my GH4 right here, that I will always say Lumix, and not Olympus. However, I do appreciate another camera brand, especially an underdog like the Micro Four Thirds, any of the Micro Four Thirds offerings, since nowadays everybody seems to be migrating and gravitating towards the full frame sensor as opposed to this tiny Micro Four Thirds sensor, digital sensor here. They are all mirrorless cameras, but some of them have higher sensors, and I'm not trying to point out to be Captain Obvious here, but some of you might not know this. I myself didn't know this a couple of years ago, so yeah, that's why I'm mentioning it. Anyhow, this Olympus, so I sold my GX1 for about 70 euros. I've purchased it for 35 euros, so I doubled my money in a few months' time. Now I know these are not huge sums of money, but to me they're relevant and important since I've managed to make a profit out of my hobby, however small it might be. I've won this listing on eBay for about $55. This is a Japan camera, but after taxes import taxes and shipping taxes and a battery, this camera owes me about $100, which is not bad, but it's not necessarily good considering the aesthetical condition. You can see there are a lot of scuffs around the around the chassis of the camera, and even though the tilting LCD screen is not scratched, it's not actually in great condition, albeit the mechanical stance of this camera is impeccable, so there are no issues with it whatsoever. I am trying to sell this along, and I was hoping for a fairly optimistic 170 euros, but right now I would settle for about 150 euros, which is still a bit of a stretch given the condition of this camera. I'm just gonna get it closer to my S20 with which I'm filming. Because I don't really plan to use a second camera to film this clip. By the way, another interruption and delay of the video, or rather parting point, but as you can see, I'm still filming in my room, in my spare room where I live. I don't have great video setup here. The lighting is not quite right. I did try to get myself into focus and to use the correct lighting, for the video, but the background is all blurry, and the ISO and the exposure, they're all over the place, and you can see the tone of the colors is way off. But anyway, I digress. I'm trying to set up a studio in a different place. Hopefully some of you might appreciate this. In the meantime, let's get back to the camera at hand. So I've paid around 100 euros for this camera, and let me just open the battery cover, and to show you, I've purchased a very impressive not OM, but rather a third-party battery, but one which comes with an inboard USB Type-C connector, so you don't really have to carry a proprietary charger for it, which is an excellent novelty idea, and I wish more third-party battery suppliers like this Patona would well, I wish they would take this approach. Now, in terms of the camera, I will not attempt an intriguing review where I disclose and reveal to you its strong points and try to get you involved in a nice story, because really I'm not that first of all, I'm not that good of a reviewer. Second of all, I'm not a good photographer, and this camera only does photography best. But suffice it to say, this one has three-way in-body image stabilization. I don't know if you can see, but the sensor is moving inside, as opposed to my trusty but obsolete by now GH4, which does not actually have image stabilization, which hurt my progress in my YouTube activities quite a lot. But we'll get over that and address it at some point. Now, the in-body image stabilization is great, but the video resolution is not. So this only films in full HD, and if you are planning to use this camera for video purposes, I would strongly advise against that plan. The reason is due to the poor resolution, and I'll show you a clip right now which I filmed with this camera in hand. It's a great showcase of the IBIS which this has, but the resolution is just not there. The shapes, they are not well highlighted, and you can see the blurry the blurry outlines where some of the filming has taken place. By the way, I filmed with this 12-60 Lumix lens. This is not the Leica, but the lower grade 12-60, and I guess the camera did a decent job at showing some full HD filming. But if you're planning to upload videos online, it's not something great. It also lacks the mic in, I believe it's here, like the GH4. So the GH4 can connect an external mic, which this OMD-10 Mark I Olympus cannot. Having said that, however, having taken video out of the equation, I can most certainly say the photos are very impressive, and I will just show you the one that I've taken. Now, this is a high exposure, out of the bat attempt at a photo at a sunset from my apartment's balcony. There's nothing extraordinary involved in terms of preparing the shot or adjusting the setup or really adjusting even the white balance or the exposure, but I was so impressed with the end result, with the clear and crisp details and the lovely colors this camera has captured. And as I mentioned before, I'm not a well, I'm not a trained or even a good photographer, even at an amateur level, but I do enjoy video and photo cameras nonetheless. And I did see the potential in this Olympus, and if you are a photo fanatic, let's say, and you want, even if you are a photo enthusiast and you want to carry around with you a separate camera which can be used individually from your phone, you just want to take great pictures, I believe this camera is great at that specific task. And to prove to you why I say this is I'm comparing it to this Titan, this obsolete behemoth of a GH4, which is in the wrong hands is absolutely dreadful at taking photos straight out of the bat. Now the reasons are multiple. It has to do with the setup and the way this thing shoots, and I'm not going to get into that because, as I've said, I'm not that great of a photographer. So my conclusions with these OMD-10 Mark 1 Olympus camera. It's a great beginner camera and it feels sturdy in the hand, and for up to $200 I would highly recommend it. You can get a cheap compact, maybe a pancake lens, a Zico 14-42 is highly versatile and adjustable, and it suits this camera for street photography quite nice, as opposed to these huge these big chunky 12-60 lens from Panasonic, or rather Olympus, because they have that one too, the Zico 12-60 or 14-50 or whatever, a wide to portrait kit lens is what I mean. So yeah, this OMD-10 Mark 1 from Olympus is quite impressive. Plans for it, as I've said, I'm trying to sell it, pass it on for about 150 euros and take those profits and shift them towards buying a brand new camera for filming, a Lumix GH7. I have set my eyes on that one, as opposed to this aging GH4, which probably I will not sell and use as a secondary camera for fixed focus shots, videos rather, inside and indoors, maybe close-ups for old gadgets. When I film old gadgets like these I will use the GH4 with close-up. So hopefully I can pass this OMD-10 Mark 1 Olympus along and gather up some profit and try to make sense of this weird, useless, obsolete tech stuff that I have gotten myself into. So thanks for watching and see you in the next one. Bye bye.